Oh, it's like, the good Saudis. There's a good Saudi who wants to let the women drive. And he got rid of all the bad Saudis because they're with the Clintons. No. He's a ruthless despot who took all the power away from the other Saudi Arabian princes so he could consolidate the power for himself. And he is totally in with the plans around how we want to move with Israel to expand into all these other areas within the Middle East and have total control of that region. That is a guy who wants to align to expand into Lebanon and to expand into Iran and to put that piece of the puzzle in place. But oh no, it's this Saudi guy he's a good one. He's just not aligned with the Clintons. Are you guys nuts? Anybody who's buying that? No. It's just another corrupt power faction who is taking power from the other corrupt power factions. And they all vie for it at the top. It doesn't mean they're trying to rescue us. Weird, guys. And, it's like they can westernize and put a positive political spin on it. They're still doing the blockades and the proxy war of the U.S. into Yemen, where we are threatened with the largest famine in human history, which we are facilitating. Yes, that is not something that we want to avoid. People are like, why aren't we doing something to stop the famine in Yemen? We want the famine in Yemen. We want to control their populations. We want to seize their straits. We want their minerals. We want their territory. We want their oil. Those people are in the way. They are not considered human beings. That's the reality we live in. And I see it. Everybody is hoping for a hero. The change and the evolution, a collective evolution and not a revolution, is not going to come from people who have seized power at the top and who are having their machinations, who are going to have the power at the top. The power comes when we collectively awaken as humanity to divorce ourselves from the lie, to stop pretending that the way this operates, batshit crazy, all of them, Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard voting for Russia sanctions, forget about her. Because the only thing is, if anybody who is throwing in with the lot of strategy and lies that move us into this is part of the problem. The problem isn't the politicians or any individual who has power. The problem is the lie that we operate under. War is a norm. This corporate billionaire model of consolidated power. And they're moving to, we are excess population. It's right back to Scrooge. It's coming to the season. Let them, if they would rather die, let them do it and decrease the surplus population. This is a seizure of power. This is a seizure of resources from a psychopathic lunatic top, and we are all pretending that the wars that they fight and this and the broken structure of a system designed to steal and transfer wealth in its inception. What is it? They got the 4 billionaires. What was it? Bill Gates and a few, 3 other billionaires have more wealth than the bottom half of the U.S. population. They have more wealth. 4 U.S. billionaires have more wealth. It's like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. More wealth than the bottom half of the U.S. population. 8 people have more wealth than the bottom half of the global population. 8 people. This is kings and queens. And we're like, oh, the kings and queens are fighting over who's going to save the population that they despise. My God! And then people say, well, who do you want to be in charge, Debbie? What? What kind of question is that? I don't want a ruling class. A ruling class does not serve us. A ruling class just, they don't offer us anything. They steal resources they steal all the resources. They divert all our creativity and humanity and diminish it into keeping us forever fighting with each other with divide, identity politics, and outright war. People do not realize there is no salvation within the political system. It's over. It's over. It's a usurped game. The evolution and the change in humanity comes with our realization of how this system is only propped up by the beliefs that our investment as the way it has to be. And we are so mind controlled that we can't even fathom. We can't even conjure a thought outside of it. That's how people think we're woke. If you literally cannot create a thought to envision a different way it can be, because you have been told that this war for profit, psychotic, batshit crazy norm we live in is the way it must be, and anybody who speaks outside of it is wrong or nuts or tinfoil hat, and you demonize those who offer a different alternative, there's nothing woke about that. There's nothing woke about this. This is about humanity waking up. And you know what? It's good for us what we're going through now. The American people need this because apparently we need it to come home to us to have what has been perpetrated on people all over the globe come here. Because we can't keep continuing this. We can't keep pretending that mass crimes and murder and theft and enslavement of other nations as a norm to us is somehow acceptable, and it's all okay and hunky-dory and dandy, and we are so progressive and loving and non-racist, even though we're fine if the brown people die over there. We're a bunch of hypocrites. And that we need this because the American people have been isolated. We have been isolated and we have been entitled. And I understand that there have been people who have suffered worse here and have gone through a lot of hard things. I'm not trying to take that away from anybody. And there's been persecution here. Absolutely. But for a very large swath of this population, we have openly just been fine with buying slave labor goods if it's cheaper for us. And then when it comes around that we have no jobs because that's what we purchase, we are absolutely horrified if it has consequences for us. And we all have participated in it. I'm not putting myself above this. It's not like I have never bought coffee beans picked by children's hands and drank it. But the thing is about how we move outside of that to stop thinking that this is some kind of way that we operate. And thinking that these are acceptable things if they're done to people in other geographical borders. Doesn't mean that there aren't all kinds of things here, but the American people need to be brought into the reality of what we inflict as a country onto the globe. And I'm not talking about the people who are struggling so hard you don't even have food to feed your children. I've been in that situation, and you're just trying to get through the day, and I'm not talking about you, but there's many, 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 many more people in this country who put themselves as so superior to the other side. Well, you prop up the exact same things, and you may not prop it up here, but you're fine acquiescing to people such as, and I've done it myself, such as Sanders, who will give the propaganda of war and then pretend we are people of peace. We have to come to the table at the reality of how we actually live. And it's not just and it's collective. It's collective. We all take a part of it. It's not just one individual. And when we take our responsibility on that level and change the vision and then take our power, because when we take responsibility for the ugly things we've all done in one way or another, when you take the responsibility for that, that responsibility gives you something so, so precious. It truly gives you power. Because if it's always the victimization of a 1% doing it to a 99%, rather than the 99% participating and codependent and enabling it, we are victims to what those tiny people at the top do. But when we take our responsibility to never support any party or political structure that advances war on lies and massacre and theft as a norm, when we say that is our bottom line deal breaker, and no, that's not wanting a pony. That is operating as the most baseline ethic that we are willing to put into this world. Until we find those kind of baseline ethics, we will never be able to have any kind of vision, and we will never transform this world. So it's time, and it's time to speak the truth, and I don't give a damn if people think I'm crazy because I'll point the obvious of these false flags that are happening in our face, or the biological spraying, or the chemicals that are raining down from us, a biological warfare that happens every day. I don't care. You can say whatever you want about me because it doesn't matter. It's not about me. Truth outs. Truth is a stubborn and a tenacious thing. And one day, hopefully soon, something will break and people will see in a much wider way. All right. I'm done. I love you all. Thank you for being part of this waking up process. And, all right then.